So welcome. Thank you for joining us on a Saturday. Like I said, my name is Arely Gonzalez, and I'm going to be one of the co-facilitators for today's presentations. The workshop is Cal Sate Apply. We're going to talk to you the first half of the presentation. My colleague Stephanie, she's going to introduce herself in a little bit. She's going to do what it looks like to apply to graduate school and what are the things that you need. And then the second part of the presentation, I'm going to walk you through the actual application. We're going to log in into Cal Sate Apply, and we're going to go section by section. And remember, this is for graduate school. We hope that you are thinking, or if you're in the process of applying, to come join us. But this is also applicable for other Cal States. So another thing that I wanted to mention about Project UpGrads, it's a grant that it was given to Cal State Fullerton by the federal government. What we do in the grant is that we support graduate students on campus and prospective students like yourself. So if you're thinking of coming to graduate school and you're admitted into a program, you may see some of our services available through the Office of Graduate Studies. We work very close together with them. And part of, being of Project UpGrads is that we do have to, tell that we're doing what we're supposed to do, right? Like we got to prove it. So at the end of the presentation, I'm going to send you an email with a survey. It takes like 2 minutes to complete it. We'll really appreciate if you take it. It gives us a chance to, one, prove that you attended, and second, to give us feedback, right? We take student feedback very seriously. So anything that you want to share with us, we'll really appreciate it. Also, I would ask if you could hold on to your questions. There may be things that we'll cover throughout the presentation that we may answer. If something comes up and you want to ask, just type it on the chat and then we'll check it at the end, or at the end of presentation, if you want to unmute yourself, that's also fine. So now I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let my colleague Stephanie introduce herself and take over the presentation.
Hello, everyone. Okay, let me share my screen right now. Could you view it already?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Vega. I'm the Administrative Support Coordinator for Project UpGrads. Thank you for joining us today for the Cal Sate Apply workshop. So let's get started. So I'm glad to see that you guys show interest in attending Cal State Fullerton for the graduate program. Well, in order to attend graduate school, keep in mind that it's a two-step admission process. So you would need to get admitted through the university and be CSU eligible. And then you would also need to get admitted through the program/department. I'm going to be emphasizing throughout the presentation that each program has their own standards and also own requirements. So how do you apply to the university? First, you need to submit an application to calstate.edu/apply, and Arely, in the second portion of the presentation, will be able to show you how the application looks like, and we'll be able to go over it with you. And then the second portion would be submitting transcripts and language scores. But I'm assuming that most of you are all Cal State Fullerton students, so this step wouldn't be applicable to you all. But if you were coming from another university, then you would need to submit those transcripts and language scores. So what does it mean to be CSU eligible? First, you would need to have your bachelor's in hand, have graduated from an accredited college, have a 2.5 GPA, and as well be on good academic standing. And lastly, if you're an international student, you would need to submit the TOEFL, which is a language proficiency test that the Office of Admission requires. But if you're not, then you can just disregard the last part. So how do you apply to the program? So as mentioned, the department/program have their own requirements, and it's important to have these ready before you apply and just making sure they're reviewed. But how would you be able to check what the requirements are? You can first check the department website for information. You can also send an email to the grad program advisor. Keep in mind that each program has their own advisor to assist students. And lastly, you can also check the Cal Sate Apply program materials section. And I really will be able to show you how this looks like. Okay, and what would be some possible program application materials? Some could be transcripts, test scores, letters of recommendation, an essay, and possibly an interview. But each program is different and they might ask for different things. So as mentioned, for the graduate program advisor, each program has their own advisor. It is highly encouraged to contact them if you have any questions. They also oversee admissions for the department/program. And keep in mind that the program/department have the final say in admission. So you can get admitted to the university, but then it would be up to the program. So for the application cycle, the university/program application opened on October 1st. And as well, just like each program has their own requirements, each program also has their own deadlines. So they're not all going to be the same. That's what I want to emphasize on this slide. And you'd be able to check the dates on the Cal Sate Apply/program website. And it's going to be able to give you a lot more information. So what happens after you apply? Well, like I said, I'm assuming that you're all Cal State Fullerton students. So you'll be using the same CWID and student email were provided as your undergrad for your graduate program. But if not, this is where you'll be receiving your CWID and email. So for your information on the university application, your portal and student center are going to be very important. It's going to be your main communication tool throughout your application process. And it is also your responsibility to check that portal constantly and see if there's any other requirements or deadlines that the university does ask of you. Oh, and then these are just some important offices: the Office of Admissions, Office of Financial Aid, and the Office of Graduate Studies. If you'd like more information, you can please check out these websites. And lastly, this is our contact information. If you need more assistance or if you'd like to go through the Cal Sate Apply workshop with Areli, with a one-on-one advising, you can email us at gradadvising@fullerton.edu. You can also check out our website. We have our YouTube channel on there. And you can also make an appointment through there. So that concludes my portion of the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and then Areli will take over.
Thank you, Stephanie. So like I said, let me walk you all through the process of applying to the university. Like Stephanie mentioned, the first step to apply to a graduate program is the university. And you do have to submit a Cal Sate Apply application if you're applying to a CSU or Fullerton. What I like to do, just because it's simple and because the Cal Sate Apply website has many different navigations and many different information, is just to do a simple Google search and then click on graduate. That way you don't get lost or you don't click something different. So you go to graduate, you scroll down, and then you click the term that you want to apply to. There's some graduate programs that do accept students during the spring semesters. So I would encourage you to either look at the graduate program website and see if they do have rolling admissions. But if not, typically programs accept only students on the fall. So in this case, we're going to assume that you're applying for fall 2021, which I'm assuming most of you are. Do apply and you will be directed to this page. If you have applied before to a Cal State, you're an undergraduate, and like I said, most of you are undergraduate from Fullerton, you might have already created a profile on Cal Sate Apply. So you can still use that username and the password, and if you don't remember what that is, you can click on forgot username and password to retrieve it. If you haven't, like me, even though you were a Fullerton student before, like myself, and you use CSU Mentor and you haven't created a profile like this, then you get a chance to create a new account. For this presentation, we do have an account. So we're gonna log in. Oh. Give me just a second. Here we go. So once you log in, you'll see this. I do wanna start with important things about the profile and extended profile. This is very simple, very self-explanatory. Your name, your contact info, you gotta read the messages that they give you, see if you agree to them, your password, and then this type of questions that they ask you. I'm assuming none of you are located in any of the European Union countries. So of course you're gonna click no. Once you have corroborated that all of this is correct, you click and save, and then you move to the next section. Extended profile. I do want to take time to explain to you why this is very important. This is where you're going to choose whether you're doing a master's degree, right? Or you're doing a teaching credential, or maybe some of you want to apply to a doctoral degree. You have to click the degree goal, second bachelor's degree and beyond. I know this may be a little bit confusing because you may be thinking, no, I'm not doing a second bachelor's degree, I'm just doing a master's. But make sure that you read everything. You got to click this because it specifies that there's master's programs that you're applying to. And then for here, this is also very important that you make sure that you click on the right options, because if you don't, the programs that you may be looking for may not populate when you're adding your program. So you can click more than one, you can only click one. You know, if you're doing a master's degree, you gotta click graduate. If you're doing a combined master's, like for example, a master's and a teaching credential, then you gotta click this one. If you want to do a certificate and a master's, then you click certificate. And this is just to make sure that the programs that you're looking for populate. So once you do that, you scroll down. This question is also important. Are you returning to a CSUS campus, which you previously attended and intended to complete the same degree? The answer is no. Even though you're returning to Fullerton, you're returning to start a new degree, a graduate degree. So the reason why the answer to this question is no. And then the rest are personal informations, international applicants. If you have an F1 visa or J1 visa, you will be considered an international student. If you identify as an undocumented student and you do not have a visa, you don't have to click yes. You just click no, and then you answer what is your permanent home, right? It is California, it may be another state. Just keep in mind that if it's another state, you may be considered an out-of-state student. But just for purposes of this, we assume that all of you live in California and I have lived in California. So just click on that, save changes, and continue. And so payment history, like I said, once you submit your application, you'll see here when did you submit that application and all the info of how you pay for that application. So now it's time to add programs. This system shows you all 23 campuses, all CSU campuses, and all the programs that are open for fall admissions as graduate admissions. So it may be a little bit challenging to find your program like this. So it's easier just to look for the campus or the program that you're looking for. If you look for the program, then it's gonna show you all the programs available in that specific program in all 23 campuses, again, if all the 23 campuses have it. If your heart is set in Fullerton and you know you wanna go to Fullerton, then you can just search that and it would show you the programs that are available at Fullerton for fall admission. Just keep in mind extended education or Fullerton extension. These are programs that some of them may be part-time and some of them may be accelerated, meaning that you'll finish faster than conventional graduate programs. And these are usually self-funded, meaning that you do not get financial aid. So just be aware of this in case that you want to explore this or you want to apply to one of these, that are some of the stipulations of the programs. So like I said, you add you look at the programs that are available. In this case, I already have selected Anthropology. You see it has a check mark. If you click on the name of Anthropology, you'll see that it gives you information about the deadline, the delivery of the format, information about the school, information about the college, and then information about the program and the program materials. Like as Stephanie mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, you will have to submit a university application and a program materials application. And sometimes the program materials include some of these requirements, not all the time, but sometimes. So we're gonna keep going with Anthropology. We had already selected. The check mark is there. Now we're gonna go to our application. And in the application, you'll see 4 squares. We call them quadrants. I do want to bring to your attention that the first 3 quadrants are what the university looks at. When Stephanie mentioned that you do have to have a 2.5 minimum GPA, that you have to have a bachelor's degree, that you have to be in good academic standing, the university is going to take a look at that, looking at this information. And then the program will take a look at the extra materials that they may be asking in this quadrant if they use it. But I'll explain that in more detail as we get to this 4th quadrant. So let's start with personal info. Of course, you have to read the statements. Like I said, always read carefully what they're telling you. And then if you agree, you save and continue. And if you do, you start seeing that check marks start coming, appearing next to the title of the section. That means that that specific section is completed. Some of this information has populated from your profile. If this is all personal information, alternate name, preferred name, legal sex, this is all up to you to add, and then birth information. Once all of this is completed, save and continue, and then you'll see the check mark here. The same thing would go with contact info. You have to add your information, your address. I do want to bring to your attention that there's some questions that you don't have to answer if they don't have an asterisk. Of course, if you see this little red asterisk here, that means that if you don't answer that, it's not going to let you move on, right? It's not going to let you submit your application. But in this case, you don't see anything that you don't have to answer it. You know, there's no problem if you don't. And then, of course, like if you don't have a permanent address, or if you do, or it's different from the one that you posted here, you know, more information comes below here. Personal info that populated from your profile, save and continue. Now, the next section is also very important, citizenship and residency information, especially for students who identify as undocumented. If you are a U.S. citizen or legal resident, or you have a green card, you choose the option that applies to you. Like I said, if you are an undocumented student, you are not an international student, so you will choose none because you don't have a citizenship status. So you will have to choose your citizenship country. So we'll choose whichever applies to you. And then, like I said in the previous section, you don't have to answer the questions that don't have an asterisk. This question will be asked again at the bottom of this section. So for this one, you can leave it open. And always it's an estimate, right? Now, for California residency, meaning that you live in the state of California, this populated from your extended profile. Yes, you said that you live in California. Now they're asking you more questions, right? Do you claim California residency? Do you live in California? Yes. Have you lived in California continuously since birth? For those of you that may be true, for some of you that not may be true, then you put no. And then again, this question is similar to this one. So you just have to, this one you have to answer because they have to make sure that that they know that you're a California resident. So it doesn't have to be an accurate date, just give an estimate and then save and continue. And this is also very important for folks who are undocumented. Like I said, it doesn't have to be accurate, it can be an estimated date. And once you save and continue, you move to the next section. Race and ethnicity, this is personal to you. Choose the one that identifies you, the one that it better identifies you as a person, and then you answer the questions and save and continue. This is very personal, like I said. Other information. This is also very important because some folks may be undocumented, but they may have DACA. And as a DACA recipient, you may have a social security number. I just want you to know that that's a social security number. It's only for work purposes. It shouldn't be used for anything else. So if you have DACA and you have a social security number, I would suggest to click no. If you are a US citizen or green card holder and you have a social security number, then the answer to this question will be yes. And then you'll be able to put that in this box. language proficiency, military status. All of these are personal questions that you get to answer on your own. Academic standing, like I said, when Stephanie was mentioning that you have to get good academic standing in order to apply to the university, they're asking you these questions. And just answer truthfully. You do have to answer each and every one of them. Another one that you got to be careful with, they're asking you if you want to obtain a teaching credential. This doesn't mean that you're applying to one. It only means that if you're interested in one. So you get to choose whichever applies to you. Call Fresh is a federal program for students that provides money for you to buy groceries. But this is only for U.S. citizens or green card holders. Undocumented students don't apply for this. So whichever is your situation, you'll answer this question. And the same thing for the RN licenses, just as the teaching credential. They're asking if you're interested in it, but this doesn't mean that you're applying to one. And then finally, you get to answer how you heard about the Cal Sate Apply website. And then save and continue. And then finally, you do financial aid and parental information. Read each statement carefully. If one of these statements applies to you, then you click this and you'll see that you will be considered an independent household. I know some students get confused because even if you're applying to graduate school, you may still live in a home and your parents may still claiming you in their taxes. As a graduate student, regardless whether your parents claim you or not, you are considered independent. So just keep that in mind. I also want to say that this section, it's only for demographic purposes. This information will not be shared with financial aid. You still have to submit a financial aid application. So if you have this information, you can fill it out, you can save it. This is, like I said, this is all your information. This has nothing to do with your parents' taxes in case that you're still being claimed under them. And then this is to know whether you are a first generation student or not. And they're asking about your parents' education level. Once you have filled out all of this, you can click save and continue. And then if all of the sections are completed and you see all check marks on all of the questions in all of the sections, the circle will turn green, meaning that it's completed. So the second quadrant, it's about history, academic history. So college attended, you do have to add each and every college that you have attended. If you are an undergraduate student and you attended community colleges, and let's say that you had already transferred those units and Fullerton had already checked those, you still have to add those colleges here, just to make sure that Fullerton knows, that you're sharing your academic history. And to add information, you just add. In this case, we're adding a degree. We're saying that, of course, we're graduating from Fullerton. Did you obtain or planning to obtain? Yes, you're working towards a degree. And this, of course, will change. For example, if you went to a community college and you only took a summer class or a winter section class, then you weren't working on a degree, right? But in this case for Fullerton, yes, we're working towards a degree. Some of you may still be degree in progress. You may be graduating this fall or spring. If you have already graduated, then you put degree awarded. And then you choose what bachelor's degree you are doing, of arts, of science. When will you earn your degree? Like I said, some of you are graduating this fall, some of you are graduating in the spring. What's your major? If you have a minor, if not, you can put the answer. If you're doing a double major, you can add it. And then of course they ask you, right, what's the system like in your university? It's a semester, a quarter, a trimester, or school is a semester system. And then since you're working on this degree, you only have to input the date that you started attending Cal State Fullerton or the university that you're included in this list. And then if you haven't graduated, you just put still attending this university and then save and continue. And then you will have to do that for each and every college that you have attended as an undergraduate. For this, I checked with the graduate admissions coordinator and she said that you do not have to put a GPA. Either way, she's going to take a look at your official transcripts and she's going to calculate the GPA. So you can opt out, and once you click edit, you can put I don't have a GPA to add. It's okay if you don't. Like I said, the admissions office will check, they will corroborate that you meet the minimum GPA requirement. But if you want to add it and you want me to show you how to do that, you can make an appointment, or you can send me a question on the email and website that I posted earlier on the chat box. And once you have completed this, the next section is standardized tests. Excuse me. Sorry, I've been talking a lot. The next section is standardized tests. This section, you can opt out as well. If the graduate program that you're applying to, excuse me, if the graduate program that you're applying to is asking for this GRE, GMAT, any other standardized type of test, they're gonna ask it on the program application materials section or to be sent to them directly. They do not have access to these 3 quadrants. Remember, I mentioned that at the beginning. So you can just opt out of this section and then move on. And like I said, once each section is completed, it will turn green. In this section as well, it's irrelevant to you as a graduate student. Like I said, if programs are asking for any supplemental information, any volunteering, any experience that you may have, they will ask for it on the program materials section, or this information to be sent directly to them. So you can also opt out of this, and it will turn green. So now the important sections that I've been telling you about, which is the 4 quadrant. Like I said, you had this information will go to the university, and then this information may go to the program in case that the program is using this section. And we're doing Fullerton. If you're applying to other programs in other universities, the list will show here, like this. We're doing Fullerton, we chose Anthropology. This tells me that the Anthropology program does not use this section to ask for extra materials or the program materials in order for you to be considered for graduate school. And they would give you information about, again, the university, the college, and then the materials that you have to submit in order to be considered for the Anthropology graduate program. And you can go to the program website and check where do you need to submit these materials. I want to show you what it looks like when a program does use this section to submit a program materials application. So let me go back, let me change the program for Fullerton. I know that American Studies uses it, so let me add it. And also, I do want to emphasize that you can only apply to one program school. There may be multiple programs that you'll be interested, whether at Fullerton or at other Cal States. You're going to have to make a choice. You can only submit one application per school and one application per program. So that's why it's asking me, right? Are you sure that you want to change programs here? And my answer will be yes. Now we're doing American Studies. We'll go back to our application. And now it looks different. This tells me that this specific program, American Studies, uses the Cal Sate Apply application to collect the extra information that they need to consider you to be part of the program. And how do I know that? Because I see different tabs. The home tab, the same thing, information about the school, the college, the program, and what do you need to have in order to be considered. And then you have different tabs where you can submit the extra application materials that they're asking you for in order to be considered. So unofficial transcripts, personal statements. Keep in mind that not all programs use this section and not all programs ask the same materials. So it is very important that you check on the program website or you meet with the graduate advisor in case you have any questions about those program materials that they're asking for. And then letters of recommendations. This is very usual now, where you include the name of the recommender, the email address, and you can write them a little message, and they will get a message, right, saying, oh, the system is asking you to submit a letter of recommendation for this student for this specific program. And then you're going to be able to see in this section whether it has been completed or whether it has been submitted. Make sure that you do let them know that you have a deadline for it, so they submit it on time, and then you can still be considered, keeping in mind also the deadline of the program. And then once all of this is completed, you'll see a check mark here. And then if you're doing other programs and other universities and all of this have been completed, then you'll see check marks all over the sections. And then this circle will turn green. And once you're ready, you can submit your application. You can submit all of them all at once, or you can submit them one by one as you're finishing them. Each application is $70. And unfortunately, for graduate students, there's no waivers in the applications. So just keep that in mind. And this will conclude this section, and I think we can do questions now.